Okay, I've got something I put together. I want you to watch this, okay? Some of the stuff you've seen before, some you may not have. But I've put something together here that you need to watch. And so watch this. It's not all that long, and I'll be right back with
If it wasn't for Joe Biden, my ex might still be out there calling my phone and breaking my windows in my car and taking my son for weeks without me seeing him. Now I realize my son won't have a father, but now I know that my son has me. My son has his mother.
Joe Biden wrote the Violence Against Women Act. So we finally treat domestic violence like the heinous crime that it is.
Abusing each other, Robert decided he was going to end his violence toward his wife, Veronica. He enrolled in a support group for men and began to change his ways. But Robert's successful efforts of curbing his violence made Veronica question his manhood and brought out her abusive side.
You know, I thought it would be a wet dream for Robert to go get help with his violence. After all, I had kicked him out of the house, got a restraining order, changed the locks, insisted that he go into this program MOVE. I probably had even found the program for him. At first, his communication style I was like, what is this? Why is he talking the way he's talking? Why is he saying these things and doing these things? What is this about? It was really odd. It felt awkward and like a new pair of shoes that need to be broken in. And he really is walking away from conflict. And now I'm starting to feel like he's turning into some kind of a wuss. I mean, you know, what's up with this? Again, just don't slap me. What do you got to change your whole personality for? What's going on here?
It soon became clear that Robert's successful rehabilitation was driving resentment and anger within Veronica that was about to boil over.
One time Robert said something that pissed me off and I backhanded him. And he said, ow, that hurt. And I climbed on Robert's back and was beating him with my fists about his neck and his head. I was trying to get him angry so that he would hit me back. And I kept hitting, and he wouldn't hit me back.
I was always for Obama, but when he added Joe Biden to the ticket, it like sweetened the deal because he was an advocate for women. He was trying to protect us the whole time. If it wasn't for him, no telling if my ex would have actually even got as much time as he did, if the judge would have even cared.
I just trust Barack Obama and Joe Biden to do it right. And the consequences of not doing it for women are breathtaking.
Every day,
with his wife and daughters looking on, Obama delivers a broader Father's Day message, calling on fathers, especially in the African American community, to play a greater role in their children's lives.
But if we're honest with ourselves, we'll admit that too many fathers are also missing. Too many fathers are MIA. Too many fathers are AWOL. Missing from too many lives and too many homes. They've abandoned their responsibilities. They're acting like boys instead of men.
Okay, I got something for you to hear right here. Mitt Romney's. That's right. An offense on war on women. Packs events with female business leaders. That's right. And we'll come down here a little bit, okay? Find what I want to read to you right here. Being Romney yesterday spoke to female, that's right, at a female-run construction firm. A construction firm in Delaware. Also met with female business leaders presented before both events. They took one of the sides of his staff handed out before his event. Began features graphic of jobs lost under the Obama administration. Okay. His failures have hurt women, Romney said to Obama. That's right. Romney's campaign has backed up their claim providing employment status between January. Okay, you see how they're using the job stats, saying how his campaign failed? And I want you to pay attention to how even Romney's using women. Okay, Romney, who yesterday had to speak the female's constitution right there, he says, I was disappointed in listening to the president As he's saying, oh, Republicans were waging a war on women, Romney said today, speak at the progressive downtown Hartford, a female-run business. The real war on women is being waged by the president's failed economy politics. Okay? I'm going to leave the link for this in the more for you. But I wanted you to see this because I got some things I need to say about this, and you need to really pay attention to what's going on around you. Okay, what'd you see right there? I wanted you to really pay attention to that, okay? Because it's like this. For all you people out there that are hardcore rights or hardcore lefts or, Republicans, Democrats, you got your belief, okay? Nothing wrong with having your belief. But there is something wrong when you're not willing to look, regardless of what you believe, look at what's going on around you to confirm what you believe is correct. It's sort of like when you do a job, and you want to make sure the job's done right, you go back over what you've done. You don't just try to put together and ship it out the door. If you're making something at a manufacturer, you have to go back over it and make sure you did the job right. Because we're all human beings, we make mistakes, right? It's the same principle here, okay? So regardless if you're a left or if you're a right, if you're a Republican or you're a Democrat, doesn't matter. It just don't matter. The reason I showed you what I showed you is because for you people out here that are Democrats, Republicans, lefters, righters, and MRers, men's rights activists, speaking up for men's rights. That's right. For the war on women. That's right. What war on women? Oh, but you heard it. That's right. And you even heard it right there with this election you're in right now. They're using war on women. Who's using war on women? Oh, the people that make the laws in your country. Yeah. Using war on women. So, men, all you men out there, we know there's a war against women, right? Because, a war against women means that if it's a war against women and there's only two genders of human beings on this planet, then it must be the men attacking women, right? Isn't that what that would say? Isn't that what a war on women is? Men depressing and, suppressing women down, taking their rights away from them. And you notice how they're using the back and forth with the so-called Republicans and Democrats and talking about the jobs and the wage gap between the genders, okay, and the jobs, okay. Well, let's see. Jobs. I wish you people quit fooling yourself and thinking that your jobs are coming back. I just wish you'd quit fooling yourselves into believing your jobs are coming back. Because your jobs ain't coming back. Never. Ever again will your jobs return. See, because they can pay the foreigner 75 cents an hour, 50 cents an hour for what they used to pay you $15 an hour for, $20 an hour for. They can give the foreigner that 50 cents or 75 cents an hour. They can give the foreigner no paid vacation and no medical insurance. They couldn't do that to you American now, could they? That's right. Whew, it saves them one hell of a lot of money to take their jobs and put them overseas, didn't it? That's right. And that's the reason your jobs will never return. Okay, for one. For two, see, the jobs was deliberately outsourced. Now for two. The so-called war on women. So anybody that knows anything about feminism, what women have been doing, how the women have acted, how male bashing in society has become a norm. And you're going to say, no, male bashing is not, I'm full of shit. So, when she cut the guy's penis off, her husband was getting ready to divorce her, she drugged him and tied him to bed and sliced his penis off and dropped it in the garbage disposal, and 5 women got up on national TV and mocked and laughed and ridiculed and laughed and laughed and laughed their ass off as talked about the garbage disposal, the little penis floating around there. Yeah, they wasn't slamming men when they did that, right? That was good talk, right? So do you suppose if we, guy tied up his wife that was getting ready to divorce him, drugged her and tied her to a bed, and stripped her down and took a flame knife and carved her vagina out of her body, and then dropped it in the garbage disposal and watched that hole in there flopping around. And then 5 guys got up on national TV and we mocked and we laughed and we bragged about it. Do you suppose it'd go over the same way? Do you suppose it'd be funny then? I suppose not, right? It's only funny when it's the other way around, but there's no such thing as male bashing, right? The women are the ones being suppressed down, right? Yeah. Why don't you wake up? Why don't you realize why this is happening? Who controls the media? Where do you get your rights from? What is a right? That's right. What is a right? Where does it come from? Did you ever ask yourself that question? Why don't you try asking MRA's leader, Paul Elam, that question? What is a right? Where does a right come from? Well, if you're not sure, why don't you go look that up? Why don't you look up where your laws came from? I showed you there. Joe Biden. But most laws are actually wrote by UNESCO, United Nations, and passed down to these people like Joe Biden, and then he takes credit for writing it. When in reality, he didn't write it, but you people believe it. Because it's nothing but a stage show. That's all you're seeing is a big WWE event, a stage show. Democrats, Republicans, rights and lefts. It's a big stage show. They pretend to fight each other in front of you. You see it fighting each other. You see all the news stories. And you see it on TV. And you see all the newspapers saying how they're bicking back and forth and they can't get along and they can't agree. But yet, after they're through playing their little show for you like WWE, they go have their drinks together and their coffee together and they laugh and crack it up because they was never against each other because they're just following the orders. That's right. They're just doing their job. They're taking their orders. They're doing what they're told to do. See, there is no such thing as a right nor a left. And for the MRIers, it's like I said yesterday. How do you plan on getting our rights back for the men that was deliberately taken away from you? Deliberate. On purpose. Knowingly, willfully, knowing what they were doing when they were doing it. Now, do you think you can go to these same people and ask them to give you some of them rights back and they're going to give them back to you? No, they're not. You stand as much a chance as them giving rights back to you as you do of bringing your jobs back. If you want the division stopped, you got to understand where it's coming from. I said this a long time ago. The division is brought to you by bankers and governments. The division brought to us, the women and men, has been brought to you by the very same people you think you're going to ask for your rights back from. They're not going to give you your rights back. They had a motive and a reason for doing it. And the reason they're still using war on women in the campaign. Why? Because of the majority of the women say this, and the guy wants in the woman's pants and wants a woman in his life, he's going to have to do as the woman says, or she's not going to give him the time of day because your pussy won't stand up for yourselves. That's the bottom line. So, quit wasting your time, MRA. You're not willing to understand what's being said to you, what I've said all along. You want to call me a nut when all the evidence is right here in your face. You will never get nowhere. None of you. None of you MRAers will get anywhere. Did you ever stop to think that MRA, PUA, that's right, CIA, yeah. Did you ever put them together? CIA, PUA, MRA. There you go. Where did Paul Elam come from? He came out of the woodwork, didn't he? That's right. Government entity. That's right. To give you false hope, to make you believe you were fighting for something, knowing full well that you were never going to get nowhere. To mislead you. The same as the phony war on women. To mislead the women. MRA, to mislead the men. PUA, to mislead the men. So society stays broke up. Wake your fucking asses up. And understand that you're not changing nothing. You want the problem fixed? You got to remove the criminals from their positions. Take them away from the buttons. And put honest, caring people in positions. And shrink your government to a handful of people. Until you do that, forget fixing the problem. Because you can't fix it with what you do.